I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, let's start with the approval of minutes. Has everybody had a chance to look through it? Does anybody have any questions or changes? Hearing none. Do I hear a motion? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed. Okay, EP1, resolution approving an amended and restated Title VI plan for the County of Oswego. Can I have a motion to discuss? Second?
Second.
Okay, what it is any place that gets federal money, you have to have a plan to receive the money because of Title VI. So you have to have a Title VI plan. And so it is by rote that it is time for us to update it. Therefore, we have updated it, and it is good for 3 years. But if we need amendments in between then the next 3 years, we can amend it. But it's necessary to be in compliance to have that. And in order to make sure that it is initiated and maintained, and any complaints or anything for Title VI, the coordinator of it is Mr. Stahl as head of the planning department. So, any other questions about that? Right.
Wouldn't we just mirror exactly what the federal government put forward?
I believe,
So
Rich,
what-
is this
so
not
what
the
our plan-
template?
we had a plan that was in place prior to the pandemic that was a little more involved for variety of reasons. It's good to get back on the boilerplate. It can be amended if transportation wants to change certain things. We're in the process of revising our LEP plan as well. We've got all those surveys back. That's part of this. We have one in place already. So it's better to have the coordinator under planning because of the contact with the contractor that runs the buses.
Yeah. So the basic infrastructure of it is the template of DOT. Frank?
What did we amend on? What were the amended parts of this? Just the ad of Mr. Stahl?
No, it's the whole.
It's the whole
we're just
thing.
The whole thing?
Run the whole, well,
Okay.
there's certain basic language that's not changed, but the whole plan is being amended and restated.
Okay,
If you want to see the old plan, we can provide you a copy of that.
at some point in time. Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Passed. Okay, EP2, resolution appointing the Director of Mobility Management as the Public Transportation Liaison. Once again, in trying to make our transportation a little bit more efficient, we've decided to bring that liaison for public transportation right to mobility management. So we're just changing titles of someone from here and giving it to Heather Snow. Motion to discuss? Second? Any other questions or concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Passed. EP3, resolution authorizing budgetary modification, Department of Community Development, Office Planning and Community Development, Land Use Planning. Motion to discuss? Second? What this is a comprehensive plan for the county. We haven't done one in over 20 years. We have more than the need to have it updated. And so what this is we're looking for, it is a $75,000 that they figured that's what it's going to cost. And so therefore, we are taking it out of ARPA funds, and that's where we begin. The county needs to have it, and you're not going to have a plan if you don't have a plan. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Marie?
Who will conduct the study?
I believe, Jim?
Yeah, we'll put an RFP to have a qualified company do that. Chairman, if you don't mind, I'd also like to add that we are also anticipating and hoping to be partnering with some of our towns and villages who also would like to either update theirs or finish their plans. Many of them were done either prior to Micron or not at all, and so we are also discussing a plan that would allow for some of our additional ARPA funds to help the towns and villages who would like to do that. We are looking to work with them, talk to my town administrator about meeting with the supervisors of towns and villages who would like to be part of this, so we get an idea of just how many want to be part. We expect there to be a companion piece to this that would be funds that we're going to share with the towns and villages. But this specific piece is just for us. We know we need it. We're still working to communicate with the towns and villages, and cities actually are interested as well.
You have comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Now into our meat of the meeting today is our ARPA funds, because we have quite a few of them. Everybody has the list. All right. Now, as we all know, number one, this is like just one of the many steps going through to get these things discussed and approved. It's already gone through Dave's office. He's here to give us any further information we need on any of them. And then it goes to the task force, then it comes to us, then it goes to the ledge. And there's 4 of those that it has been decided that we need a little bit more information. So they have been pulled, so we don't need to discuss them at this meeting. And so I'll let you know now, so you can just pull them out. Is the first one, AJ Montclair, down towards the end of the first page, Mitchell Printing, and at the bottom of it, Palladium Times. And then on the second, back of the first page, HarborFest. Everything else is to be discussed, so we'll start with Aqua Spa Float Center. Dave, give us a rendition.
Yeah, so as it says here, they had made a request for an amount that included some marketing that they did, and then also money that they paid as premium for their employees to remain on the payroll during the pandemic. The marketing money really wasn't a qualified expense, but the COVID pay was, and that's how the task force came to the conclusion of $15,991.51.
Anybody have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. Next.
Like a lot of these lost revenue claims, they had a significant amount of money that they lost during the pandemic. Demonstrated it after we looked at the PPP information. We had to reduce that. Came up with potential eligibility, and then a suggestion by the task force for about half of that, which is pretty common for a lot of these in the small business or not-for-profit. Most have been reduced to 50% of what the ask was or what they're eligible for.
Anybody have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Nay? None? Pass. Chase Enterprise.
So Chase demonstrated a significant loss. They had documented contracts with the state of Pennsylvania that were pulled when the pandemic hit, and that was a major source of their loss. They had asked for $350, and their request was reduced to $75.
Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Hearing none? Okay. Leroy?
Yes, so this is a small business in the city of Oswego. It's been in Oswego County for a long time, was in Fulton before, and they demonstrated a pretty significant loss. Their total eligibility was somewhat less than what they asked for, and then the task force recommended an amount significantly below what their eligible amount was.
No, exactly what is Leroy?
So they make high-end custom body jewelry. They have about 60 employees, 60 to 70 something. And they sell their things all over the world.
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
Any comments? Concerns? How many in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none? Okay. NET and Dye?
Northeast Tool and Die, family-owned business, several generations. It's a woman-owned business now in this existing group. They are one of the, like, 90 different metalworking companies we have in Oswego County. And they're trying to expand and get out of, they're in a really old industrial structure on the west side of the Oswego River in the city of Fulton, almost like down underneath the bridge, the Broadway Bridge. And it's a really bad location. They can't grow there. They want to get into a new facility and add more modern equipment. And while this is not part of their economic development plan, that's originally why they came to us. And so we said, you're not eligible for that, but if you can demonstrate lost impact or financial harm from the pandemic. And so they did that, and this is the number that task force came up with.
Questions, concerns, Frank?
Well, just a question, Dave. On some of them, it lists the PPP received, and then on others, it doesn't list it. I mean, is that for a reason?
No, we certainly can provide that information for any of these if it's not on there. Consistency, sometimes it did, sometimes it didn't, but
It was always checked.
it was always checked,
Well, I
yeah.
just wondered why
Yeah,
some are
thanks,
listed and
yeah.
some are omitted.
Yeah, we can, if you'd like, we'll go through here. Any place that wasn't listed, we'll add that in and send it out to the committee as an email.
Well, that's okay. It'll be over past the time anyway, but I just was curious why some are listed and some aren't.
No real reason.
Any other questions, concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none? Okay. El Noor Hospitality and Inns.
Yeah, this is a small inn on East 10th Street here in Oswego, and again, lost revenue application. They were eligible for $70,000, and the committee recommended just under half of that. And the reason why I say just under half, when we got done with all of our applications, in order to stay within the budget that we had reduced like
3.37%.
3.37% from all the requests in order to be an equitable reduction for everybody. We used a percentage, and that kept us within the budget.
Concerns, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none? Okay.
Press box, this was, so many times people had started a project before the pandemic, and then the world shut down and they couldn't go forward. And then the pandemic, we start to come out of it, they want to complete their projects, but now everything costs 2 or 3 times what it used to cost. So in cases like that, we had people provide pre-pandemic quotes for materials and labor, post-pandemic quotes from same providers as the original ones, and compared the difference, and the delta, the difference between pre and post was the economic harm that we applied, and that's how we came up with the number for this particular applicant and others that you've approved in the past as well.
Any questions? Concerns? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none? Okay. TCD,
Yeah, also a lost revenue request, and here's another one. Apologize, Marie, that we didn't actually put in the amount of the PPP, but once that was adjusted, the request was reduced to that 168, and about half of that is the 81 minus the 3.37.
any concerns or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Multi-graphics, same thing, lost revenue minus the PPP,
about half of what their request was, the recommendation, suggestion.
Questions or concerns? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
Very similar for Bona's restaurant here in the city of Oswego. So the 83,971, this was a company that we worked with a little bit before they came up with a final number, so their request was what they were actually eligible for, because we kind of held their hand more and guided them on how to do their calculations before they made the requests.
Any concerns, questions? Hearing none. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
Oswego Minor Hockey, this is a request to create safer spaces, if you will, in the, or adjacent to their primary rink over by Fort Ontario. Any of you who have ever been there, the locker rooms where they stuff 15 to 20 kids for a hockey tournament or hockey game, probably is 1/3 the size of this room. And so during pandemic and I guess going forward, not really a healthy, safe environment to put a bunch of people in. So they're trying to create bigger, safer areas. And because youth sports are part of our tourism industry, all sports, adult or college, we bring people in, they stay weekends for tournaments. So they also qualified under the travel, tourism, and hospitality sector, and then health and safety was the main goal of the project. So they also have, this is a much larger project than the 80, and they have money from the city of Oswego.
City of Oswego, Eric Cole Foundation, their own money as well, some of their own money as well.
Any questions or concerns? Hearing none. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
Safe Haven, again, lost revenue. They asked for 50, documentation brought it down to 36. And because this was a smaller request than many of the others, the task force went with that total amount to 36.
Any questions or concerns? Hearing none. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
Redfield Snowmobile, they're trying to create a place where they can store their equipment and also have meetings in an environment that's people aren't shoulder to shoulder. And they asked for $70,000 for a project that's going to cost about $200,000. And the part of travel, tourism, and hospitality is where they're qualified under.
Questions or concerns? Hearing none. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
Winona Forest, this was a lost revenue as a not-for-profit. They are definitely part of the travel, tourism, and hospitality industry. Because of the small amount that was requested, the task force recommended the full amount.
Questions, concerns? Hearing none. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
The driving school is a small business. They have offices in Oswego County and Onondaga County, but basically they specialize in driver training for people with some kind of limitation. So maybe they have to have like handheld things instead of gas and brake pedals because they're maybe have had an amputation or any kind of limitation that the person might have that would impact their ability to drive a car like you and I would. This is what these guys specialize in, helping them get the devices and then training them to use them.
Questions or concerns? Hearing none. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Passed.
Paisley White, again, lost revenue from a not-for-profit, part of the travel, tourism, and hospitality
got 50% of what they demonstrated.
Questions or concerns? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passed. Bishop's comment?
Before we,
Oh, I'm sorry.
before we start, can I ask one last question for the EBT? Why were these other items suddenly closed?
My understanding, they needed the,
Quite often there's more information and you come to light requesting more information.
Thank you.
Yeah.
oh, George. Oh, my goodness, was that the last one?
There's a lot.
I was saying the other ones are from different groups.
Dave, thank you so much. It's obvious that you know a lot about each one of these. You've really gone into the information of it, and I know that you allow any of us, if we need more information, to come to you, and you'll be able to dive right into it.
Absolutely, we've got full like paper files. There's also digital files for all these, and I appreciate your comment, but I gotta give Kyle the credit. He sits with these people sometimes. 5 or 6 or 7 times they visit his office with another set of documentation. He really does the legwork of making sure they're qualified, part of the law that they're qualified under, and that we have enough documentation to back up any decision that we make.
Well, that's kind of cool. You probably get to know some of these people up front
Yeah.
personal.
It's nice.
All right. Okay, moving right along then. Let's see. Reporting documents, departments, I'm sorry. Soil and water, he's not here today. He already told me he would not be able to make it. Promotion and tourism department update.
Past events for the month of June. Fishing with Vets was on Saturday, June 10th, from 12 to 4. It's down at Wright's Landing. It's kind of cool that 3 or 4 vets can go on a boat, go out in the afternoon. The guides can offer their time in the afternoon free of charge. And then a small barbecue afterwards. June 24th, I don't know if Phil wants to get into the subject more, but the Getaway Dirty event was over at Wright's Landing as well, right by Park, but it got moved into the Proby building. We're waiting on a video from Kyle Ridlon just to sort of highlight the event more. So it's not just people can go to our website and watch the live stream, sort of pan the pictures, a little bit better picture quality as well. The Oswego County Fair was June 30th to July 2nd. I was there all day Friday. Our lovely tourism staff was there all weekend, manning our booth, giving information to people about what the county has to offer for Office of the Aging, et cetera, et cetera. I heard that Sundays was very well attended. This past weekend, July 1st, the Oswego County combined with MET Bank to sponsor the race on Saturday night. There was 18 cars in the feature event. Future endeavors, the solar eclipse next year. We're excited to say that we have a sound box that people that are blind can actually feel the vibration of the solar eclipse as it passes. It's something that we can offer. That was given to us free of charge. We're also hopefully within the next couple weeks, is designing our glasses that we're going to be ordering to give out to everyone.
Question about the glasses. I had to ask from other towns. Are you supplying them to other towns in the county, or?
We're discussing it now because if obviously we can order more at a cheaper price. So if we're going to order more, why not order more? So we're still in discussion with them.
Yeah, because I think a lot of your villages are
Yeah.
going to be having something.
Sure.
What's the date for that?
It's in April, and I want to say it's in the teens, like 17th or 18th. But it's in April.
Yes.
In Oswego, so it's going to be interesting to see that actually, what we can see.
Yeah.
The Pro-Am is this weekend, July 7th and 8th and 9th at Wright's Landing. Kind of cool for that is a while back we started to do Facebook posting where we start to put money, $75 to $100 on certain events that are happening around us. This one was our first, and so far we've gotten 11,000 impressions on Facebook with boosting the post. Next spring, the New York State Outdoor Writers Association Conference will be somewhere in the Flat Sky area. It's not necessarily like a large conference that we had in the conference center where it's close to 190 to 200 people. It's about 30 writers from around New York State that are here for 3 days that want to basically explore what we have to offer: hunting, fishing, outdoor kind of stuff. So hopefully we can get them to Hotel Park Lodge. It's possible, but just last week spoke with PBS Watertown. They want to do a half-hour production show of the fort and the Safe Haven Museum that could be released in the fall. Really focusing more on the Safe Haven Museum because they already, probably 4 or 5 years ago, they did one on the fort. Now they want to add in the Safe Haven Museum. Worked with NBC for the week of July 24th to 28th, going up to Harbor Fest about a small section called Your Town. But because of the city of Oswego is already doing a Your Town production with NBC, what's great about this is we can focus more on everything but the city of Oswego. So what we want to focus on is Sandy Island Beach, Selkirk, Lock 1 Distillery, the Locks, Grace Tyler, and the north of Oneida Lake. And then 28th will be a live show, sort of in a morning, to combine everything from that week about what they discussed. And the website, we are through with the skeleton and the framework, and today, hopefully at 10:30, we have our first, what our home pages are going to look like for each, when you get to it, each other, topic that's not up on the page. So we're excited for today that hopefully about an hour, you get to see our first kind of color, because everything right now has been in, framework and skeleton is all black and white. So, and that's just about all.
Dave?
Just on the eclipse, unfortunately, it happens in April, which is not our ideal tourism month, but we have one of the longest viewing windows in all of America. The only longer one, I think, is somewhere in Texas. And we're expecting, even in April, we're expecting a large amount of people to come here for that. So they've been working hard putting together venues and other partners so that we'll have things for all those people to do besides the 3 minutes that they look at the sun go away.
We've been working with the college as well as the city. The college is really into it as well. So.
Yeah, they'll be in session.
Yeah, exactly.
And they have the astronomy department there and everything, so.
I just wanted to thank you and your staff for helping my office and the city put together that World War II event. It came out very, very nice, especially in short notice.
I thought it was well attended for short notice too.
Yeah, and the weather.
Yeah.
So, also just wanted to thank the chairman for participating and vice chair and majority leader for coming. It was a good event. That's right.
If I can follow Phil, I ran into the folks who were here from Oklahoma. Yeah, I ran into them in the city, and they were here for like 4 days, and they said they have never been any place where the people were so friendly and welcoming, and they can't wait to come back. It was a really delightful experience for them.
It's nice that people understand that all New Yorkers are not the city of New York.
Yeah.
So, yes. Well, you had a lot to do, and there you are, tourism. That shows us how important tourism is to Oswego. It's a lot of stuff.
Summertime, so it's
Summertime.
everyone's doing something.
Thank you. Okay, Planning and Community Development Department updates.
We go over to transportation with other first.
So I have handouts right here. You guys want to pass those up around. Farmers market routes. So we're doing the farmers market routes again this year for Fulton and Oswego. These are going to start on July 20th, and they will run for 10 weeks. We've completely revamped the routes. We're doing things this year like we have yard signs this year that say farmers market shuttle bus Thursdays or Saturdays. They're bright green. Certain facilities will have 2 to 3 of these bus stop signs so people know where to stand. And also we can make it easier for larger facilities to access by having these around the facility completely. Marketing materials will be completed next week, and we'll start distributing the bus schedules. There's certain facilities like Towpath Towers. They'll have the opportunity this year to go to the Oswego Market, which is something that they really wanted to do last year. And we'll be using a mixture of OCO, but also Central buses to be able to get people to go to that market. Write the route, so you guys will see a new flyer there. We're going to be doing a collaboration with City of OC's Lifelong Learning Center and Rural Health Network of Central New York and their Get There program. So we're going to teach people how to ride the bus. We have 17 people signed up so far for our first class. We'll do this all summer long, and then we're also going to start a class up in the Plaza area at Selkirk Landing. We're going to teach people how to read the bus schedules. They're going to learn how to transfer buses, so we'll take them onto an OCL bus. They will transfer onto a central bus. We'll go over passenger safety, payment systems. So I'll keep everyone updated on the results of that class, but people seem to be excited about it. I'm excited about it. We have a TAC meeting coming up also on the 20th, so lots going on in July. But I've attached an agenda in there which is tentative if you guys would like to attend. I've also attached my monthly report so you can kind of see what we've been doing this past month. But we have lots going on with bus procurement, updating our website, and preparing for the audit coming up in August.
I love to see the education, Heather. That's so important, is to educate the people. That's the whole thing, is finding out how to. And then a lot more use will take care of you. Just understand it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions for Heather?
I have a
Right.
question.
Oh,
Go ahead, Mark, first.
I'm just curious, we're starting this rides to the farm market and things like that. Are we tracking this so that we know whether or not it's actually beneficial, if people are using it, to find out whether or not we're just driving one person around, or do we track our ridership?
Yes.
Anyway, okay.
So we track ridership. Last year we had 80 riders for year one. So we've done some adjustments this year to our routes. So we'll track ridership again this year. Routes were made seasonal, so last year they were not considered seasonal routes, but now that they're considered seasonal routes, we can tap into a sustainable funding source, which is our state transportation operating assistance, to keep the routes going in the future. But we'll track ridership data. That's how we adjusted the routes this year. Is we took, yeah.
Thank you.
It's my long-winded answer. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I like to talk.
Frank?
Heather, I
Yes.
know that in the past month or so, we have attempted to have you come to the common council meeting in Fulton
Yes.
to discuss this. Have you heard anything from the administration there to come, so you can discuss this?
They have not reached out to me, but I'd be more than happy to attend to talk about transportation, farmers markets, and updates.
I understand. Okay, thank you very much.
Any other questions for Heather?
Where do we find the schedule?
So they're in print right now. I'll have them by early next week. I'll make sure everyone gets a copy. If you'd like, I have digital copies right now I can give you.
Okay. If you could email something and then we can put it in our town hall.
We're working on a press release for that also this week with internally.
Yeah, that would be good to send them right to the villages and towns so that they can put them out where they know people need to know in the cities. Dave?
I'd just like to add that at the end of every week, Heather does a really comprehensive report of everything she's been up to, and I don't know how you find the time to do all those things. But, anytime you're interested in knowing, what's going on with her, I'm sure she'd be happy to send you a copy of her weekly report.
Yeah. It actually helps me. We have our 5311 quarterly report that we do for our grant funding, and so that report actually makes it really easy at the end of the quarter just to scan it over. So it actually saves me time.
Way to eat a bear, one bite at a time, and that's what you're doing. Noel, did you have a question?
I was also wondering, how do people know about this training for the bus routes? How are you getting people to come to it?
Yes, so
So I'm wondering if employment training knows about it.
They do. We actually have, and that's something I'll also be tracking with the help of the Rural Health Networks. We're going to have a survey at the beginning of the class to track data, which will be completely optional. But we have a mixture of people from the community join the class, but we also have people from Employment and Training and Department of Social Services so that they can train people that they serve as well internally. But we're getting it, yes, all of it, but we're getting the word out through flyers, through all of our internal networks that we have, and then also social media, LinkedIn is a big one.
Yeah, that's great, because you're actually training the people, but then you're training trainers to train other people.
Yes.
So it's,
Because I wouldn't know how to.
It's 50-50 right now. I'd say about 50% is county and employment and training and those type of people, but we also have about half coming from the community and other facilities around.
Okay,
Seniors as well.
Yeah, seniors, nonprofit organizations,
Food
food
banks.
banks, all of those type of things. Schools, the kids need to learn how to actually use the bus and not have to depend on parents or friends if they start. I know growing up myself, I used the bus to get places. So, I mean, there's no sense to it. But
We'll have pocket guides coming out very soon. We're working on pocket guides that DSS can hand out and employment and training can hand out that will have just a small version of bus guide etiquette rules, bring what you can carry, and will be a miniature version of bus etiquette.
excellent idea, bus etiquette. Any other questions? Operation Oswego County.
You might,
Yeah, because
Austin wasn't able to be here today for Operation Oswego County, but let me just jump in real quick on just a couple other community development updates here for planning. We talked a little bit about the planning study that which was authorized to this committee. That is something that we've talked about over and over again as a committee, but also as a county, is that we need to be prepared for what we expect to be coming here. We need a good communication structure with our towns, villages, and cities to make sure that they're prepared as well. I know there's been a number of meetings that Dave and Austin have had. He was going to give that update with some of our towns and villages on the southern section of the county to really make sure that this conversation of plan or be planned, right? Is we want to be on the front end. We want to be proactive. We don't want to be chasing it here. So those conversations have been going real well with those towns and villages, and the hope is that we as a county can help to not necessarily force anyone to do anything, but we need to have a communication network built up so we know what they want, they know what we're looking for, and then we can provide that united front to those who are looking to develop here in our county. So that has been, again, very actively been worked out through our committee. We do have some micron committees that have been meeting. I want to give just a quick update on that. If anyone has any questions on where we stand with our micron committees, but again, very actively working towards being prepared for whatever comes our way. The READY projects we've all talked about a little bit in the past, the high water monies that we received from the state. Those projects are moving forward as well. We did just this last month look into potentially moving some of the funds towards Fund Route 89. I don't know if anybody's been down there a while. Legislator Connolly as well about this, but some of that water has been moving up just to the west of Rudy's down there. And we potentially putting the Fund Route 89 in jeopardy, so we met with some contractors about that. I'm hoping to be able to move some funds to be able to get that addressed as well. And then lastly, we are looking to get the County Planning Board back up and running again. Hopefully by next month's meeting, we'll have a resolution to reconstitute that board. So if anyone in your communities would be interested in serving, please reach out and let me know. We're putting together a list of folks for that. And also be thinking about what you would like to see them do. Historically, that group has been put together to appoint a member to the Port Authority, as is the way of that board, but also has some other possible options that could really help to just help the communication network of our whole county when it comes to infrastructure and development. So if there's people in your areas that would make sense, feel free to have them reach out to me directly.
Any questions? And Cornell is now, I would like to add one little thing that isn't on the agenda, just so that people know it is part of economic planning and development, is many of you know Phoenix has an OTB entity, I should say. However, the state OTB has decided that since Phoenix has been losing money the last several years, they're closing it. So it will be done. So we will not have an OTB in Oswego County. And as you may know, we do get funds from OTB every year, and some people think it's because of what we make in Phoenix, but it isn't. What it is, it's all of the OTBs in the state, plus the casino in Batavia and their racetrack. Whatever profits are from there, the profits from everything is divided into the 17. So we will continue to get money from OTB. In fact, we probably will get a little bit more, actually, because you're reducing. I guess this year alone, Phoenix was set to lose $268,000. It's not just a little loss, it's big losses. And I think that's a sign of the times. People are betting online, people are going to casinos to bet, and they're just losing out on the money. So they just said we can't financially continue it. So it is going to be a building that's gonna be up for grabs, so as I was talking to Tim, I'm gonna get a hold of Austin, maybe IDA might be considered that, because it's right there, right off of 481, it could be turned into something. So, then it would be put on the tax rolls, because right now it isn't. So, things for the future. Oh, yes, Raymond, we'll introduce you as Matt's replacement. Yeah, you want to tell anybody as to where you're coming from?
Sure, I'm coming from the tourism department. I know, I'm sorry. But I am very excited to be working with you all, and
Okay, so you're going to be right there, right next to Betsy now,
I
right?
will be, yes.
You'll be right there. Okay, the new face.
Okay.
All right,
If I
welcome
could,
aboard.
Selfishly, I am losing Raven, but she's an absolutely incredible employee. It's been in tourism, and I'm excited to, we're going to say gifting her.
Oh, gifting.
Thank you.
You have become a wanted commodity, so good, good.
Thank you.
All right, are there any other things to be brought to this meeting? Hearing none, motion to end the meeting.
So moved.
Second,
Hey,
all in favor?
just have-
Wait a minute.
No, I just want to talk about the meeting's over.
Oh, yeah.